Welcome back to the Reno-Tahoe Real Estate Insider. Today I'm sitting down with Jason Martinez. Jason, thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to talk about things to watch out for when working with a real estate agent, ethics-wise. So things to not let your real estate agent do when they're working with you. And so, yeah, Jason, for people that don't know you, do you mind just giving a quick intro of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, thanks, Shay. Appreciate you having me. Again, my name is Jason Martinez. I've been in the real estate industry for 6 years. Started with Keller Williams back in 2020, and ever since I've been with Remax Professionals. This is my 6th year in real estate. Before this, I guess give more background, like where I'm from. Originally, I'm from Incline Village. I was raised here until I was about 7 or 8 years old. For a lot of people that don't know, maybe, but I was we were eminent domained, our family, which just basically means that the city had plans for our neighborhood, and we couldn't stay anymore. So we ended up going to Carson City. So I made that place my home ever since. I do love Carson. I coach at Carson. I coach soccer at Carson. But real estate didn't fall into my, I guess you can say, into my life until later on in 2015. My wife and I ended up buying a place in Dayton. At the time, it was like $189,000 to get into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So now we're talking about like $400,000, $500,000. But we ended up staying there about 2 years, and we were thinking of selling, relocating back into Carson. So we did our long-term investing. Essentially, we took advantage of the capital gains, made some money from the sale, bought a place, and kind of did the same thing, not knowing intentionally what we were doing, but we bought a fixer-upper, and then we ended up selling it again 2 years later, and just kind of kept doing that process over and over again. Yeah. So it was really cool. And then sure enough, our real estate agent at the time who was helping us, he's like, why don't you just get licensed? And I'm like, I guess so. I guess we're going to do it. So fast forward into 2019, I was working at a major telecommunications company.
Okay.
I made the leap of faith into real estate, and thank God in 2020, I closed about 10 deals during the pandemic.
No way. First year?
First year.
Good for you.
Doing both jobs is a struggle. And 2020, our half of the telecommunications side got sold off. So I got unemployed. And I burned the bridges.
A blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise. I burned the bridge and said, hey, I'm not coming back anymore. And yeah, it's been a blessing ever since with real estate. So
yeah,
I'm super happy.
That's great, man. I know you were sharing off camera that you've done over 40 million in total sales. You've done over 100 transactions, well over 100. So you've seen a lot. I know today we wanted to talk about really the ethical side of real estate. I know you're passionate about that and passionate about doing the right thing. Tell me what drives you to have that passion.
As a real estate agent, you kind of see a lot in the industry, and meaning it's really closed doors type things that can happen in the background.
Yeah.
Where maybe individuals aren't doing the right thing for their clients and more for their pocket.
Do you have a story? I mean, we can hop right into it. I'd love to. What's a good story?
Let's jump. So I definitely had one where an inspection's come into play.
Okay.
And I think it's valuable because just the line item, if that were to go wrong, it's a huge fix.
Okay. So what was the inspection around?
The inspection was what was it? It was a septic system.
Okay. So is it a sewer line scope or?
More or less like the actual condition of the septic tank and how it's being used, age, all that stuff. And, I'm representing the sell side, and I always appreciate if a buyer does the inspection. If not, if we do the inspection beforehand. But anyway, I digress. So sure enough, we're waiting for that inspection to happen because the home inspection happened. And the agent messaged me and says, hey, based off of what we've seen on the outside of the home, we don't want to dive into the underground. We don't want to dive into the septic tank. And I'm like, interesting.
Basically saying, hey, we think there is likely something really wrong. We just don't even want to uncover it.
Right. And I'm like, well, you should, because if we can help, mitigate the situation for your client in the future, then, let's do that. Let's make both sides happy.
Right.
And they decided to skip completely. They're just like, no, we're waiving it. We'll be okay.
Interesting.
And it stuck with me because I'm like, maybe you're helping this family as a first-time home buyer. Maybe they don't have a lot of money to stretch in the first place because they're getting the grounds running. And you're not helping them do their due diligence to also save their investment for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And how much that inspection could have saved them with time, money.
100%. Let's say they're a first time home buyer, you can go anywhere between 3.5%, 5% down, right?
Sure.
And what was the home selling for?
It was selling for around $400,000.
Okay. So let's say 3% down, even just 12 grand down payment. Then you got closing costs. So let's say talking 20 to 22,000 out of pocket. Did there end up being a future issue?
That's what I don't know to this day.
You don't know. You didn't dive into it.
Right.
I mean, once it's sold, but.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, let's say there was, and it's a $10,000 fix or $20,000 fix. I don't know, but that could wipe out your down payment investment like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're a first time home buyer and you're banking on that, and a lot of times first time home buyers, like I know me, when we bought our first home, which is the only home we've ever bought, it's not like we're just flush with cash to where it's like, yeah, have a problem. No problem. Well, here's some money to fix it. It's like, no, dude, every single problem that was there, we needed to be aware of it so we could account for it ahead of time. Okay. So
absolutely.
Do you know how they presented that to the buyer?
No idea.
No.
And I think that's part of giving faith into the other side who's representing them, is actually representing them well and giving the right advice in order to make sure the client is making the right decision ultimately.
Yeah.
So I don't, and it really is out of my hands because I'm not representing the client at that point. I'm only representing the seller.
Right.
So if obviously we do our SRPDs, our seller real property disclosure forms, and we're making sure we're asking our clients if they know anything that's going on with the property, and they have the right to disclose. Once that's set in stone, I mean, it's up to the other side to be able to do their inspections or their due diligence to make sure that, everything is right on spot, or they're happy with the condition, or if some things do need to get repaired, then we do those repairs ahead of time to make sure that both sides are happy with it. Because at the end of the day, I guess it's just a moral thing, but being greedy or not doing the right thing when you can do the right thing can save headaches, time, money, and not only the relationship and representation that we leave behind.
Oh, the reputation's huge too, especially in Northern Nevada.
Yeah.
Even though Reno's a big city, it's really not that big of a city. Carson, Incline, same. I mean, all those are smaller and smaller, right? Yeah.
Right.
Word gets around quick, man.
Yeah.
If you do something wrong, people are going to find out. I also am a big believer in what goes around comes around too. So I don't know. It's an interesting story though. So have you ever, are there any other stories in which you've had encounters like that where it's like, well, seems like something fishy's going on here, but I can't really dive into it because I'm on the other side. Are there any other stories that come top of mind?
Not so much fishy, but I'm sure you've worked with clients with either a high net worth or not high net worth. It is what it is. We just work with clients all the time.
Right.
And keeping their information private when it needs to be private, it should stay that way.
Yeah.
And I've seen in our industry, agents really want to make that wow or it factor. And what I've seen happen is I've seen agents post almost closing documentations from the title company of their clients' info and, basically settlement statement.
Yeah.
Of what they netted.
Social or what?
Yeah, on social.
Wow.
And just feel like it's very unethical at that point that you'd be sharing private information like that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. On the lending side, that's a huge no-no. You can't. We deal with financial information. You can't disclose that to anybody unless you have the authorization of the client, which, it very rarely do we ever even get into the situation where we have to ask for that authorization. But in certain instances, you have to work with third parties that are also working with the client. And anyways,
Yeah. And even if you do, and I'm a firm believer in this, even if you do get that acceptance or authorization, it's no one else's business to be seeing that info.
no, yeah,
And just because you're a busier agent or you're trying to prove what you're saying is true, at the end of the day, you're really hurting your client at that point, because that information is just so sensitive
yeah.
and into the wrong hands.
Especially nowadays, there's so much you can do with information
Right.
to manipulate it and make it what it's not.
Go to ChatGPT and just type in your name and where you're from and see what it brings up,
I don't
right?
even want to do that.
Right.
Have you done that?
I've done it. It's interesting.
What's it say? All-star soccer player?
You know, funny enough, I peaked in high school. Let's just go with that. So yeah, it does come up with some stuff.
I've been on a downward spiral since high school. No,
Absolutely. Tore the Achilles, and I said, yeah, this is it.
Really?
I did.
Oh, man. That's brutal.
Yeah, man.
That's brutal. When it comes to disclosures, yeah, there's all sorts of disclosures in the real estate process. Are there any real examples you've got? And I know this is a tough question, but are there any real examples of information that's technically legal to withhold, but ethically questionable? No, that's a really tough question.
That is a tough one. And not necessarily, because what I tell my clients is that we got to be truthful from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because anything that's done in the dark will always come to light. So if they're withholding things that I'm eventually going to find out, you know, we're going to have that conversation. We're going to talk about it and do right by it.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it's like when somebody does, this is kind of a personal thing, but my dad would cut corners sometimes and not do things the right way. So meaning if a car had to get serviced, my dad either decided to do it or he would delay on doing it. And to be honest, once the car broke down, now we're paying double to fix what could have been like
your own family car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been like $100 fix versus, you know, $1,000.
Yeah. The motor all got
Yeah, I got busted or pissing out. I don't know what happened. I'm not too good into cars, but either way. So yeah, whatever's done in the dark will always come to light. And if a client's withholding things, it's the right way to go about it is to get it done, and to get it done the right way. Now, if it ends up costing a little bit more upfront, you're going to hold that peace of mind that it's going to withstand, you know, the long-term effects of, you know, the upkeep of the house or the condition of the house. So
yeah, 100%.
But that question for sure, it's a tough one to answer, but if anything's ever done in the dark, then, you know, obviously we want to nip it right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then SRPDs, I know that's the big seller's real property disclosure. That's a big one where it's easy. You could easily just check, you know, that you basically don't know anything. Do you ever run into situations where you know that an SRPD may not be correct and you have to bring it up and say, hey, look, I know you put this here, but like this is obvious. We got to do something about this.
Yeah, definitely. Two things I've recommended to clients is if before they list their home, that we do a walkthrough, and I do it with them.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, after doing, you know, so many transactions, you kind of start seeing the nuances of like what should be working, what shouldn't be.
Yeah.
As far as when they start putting things down, you start doing like a checklist on your own, saying like, hey, this might need a little more work than what we think.
Yeah.
And some drywall repairs aren't the best either. So you kind of start noticing that too. Yeah. So I've definitely done that. And the best way to mitigate that is, you know, do a walkthrough with your client pre-list and just start doing a checklist, make sure things are looking, you know, tidy as they should be. Yeah. Let your clients know or ask questions, because maybe someone's home is a resale that they bought, you know, before we ended up helping them out sell it. Mm-hmm. So now they're getting a chance to, you know, start seeing things that they didn't see before, maybe that they missed.
Yeah.
So more or less, maybe it's not them intentionally keeping it away, but it's probably something that they missed, and, you know, we're looking to correct that this time around.
Yeah. Certainly.
And then a pre-listing inspection too is probably a great one to do.
I was going to ask about that. How valuable is that to have?
That's huge. It's huge.
But is it better to do a pre-listing inspection than it is to wait for the buyer? Do you think? Or is it case-by-case basis?
I would probably say it's like a case-by-case basis. I've had an investor do this to me.
Is you as the agent or you as on the home?
On my home. Well, not my personal home, but my client's home.
On your client's home, okay.
So the investor gave us an all-cash deal, told us it would take them around 17, 18 days to close on the house. They were just going to do a preliminary inspection and basically see if with that condition we were going to be good. So they had pre-walked the house, or they toured the home, and they already saw the condition. We kind of disclosed to them already what we think about the property and what we've seen. And they took that information and they gave us an all-cash offer based on that amount.
Yeah.
So after they did their inspection and we said, hey, this is an as-is sale. We can't do anything more because the client doesn't have money at the moment.
They signed it as is on the contract.
So they signed an as-is clause.
For anybody listening that doesn't know what an as-is sale is, it's basically, hey, we're not going to make any repairs because we either for whatever reason.
Yeah. And sure enough, they do the inspection and they come back and they say, hey, just based on the condition, these things need to get repaired. We would want to deduct more off the house.
Right.
But we had already come to an agreement based on the condition of what that would already look like. Then that's why we took their offer.
Right.
So they utilized that inspection as a negotiation tool to take off even more.
They leveraged that
off the home.
Yeah. So that's where having a pre-inspection, a pre-listing inspection, you can basically eliminate the leverage from the buyer's side, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's a powerful tool. So what are some red flags they should look for when it comes to ethics and somebody, they want to make sure that somebody's acting in their best interest? What are some early red flags somebody could look for?
Maybe they're not asking questions at all.
Now, what questions should be asked?
They should be asking, how long have you owned the home? What kind of things do you know about your house?
Is there anything the client could ask the agent to suss that out?
That's a tough one.
Man, I'm backing into.
No, this is good.
Questions, I guess.
No, this is good. So, I guess the best thing is, how do they go about listing the house? Their intentions of selling. Maybe a questions of like, what do they think about the home? What as the seller myself, I'm asking the agent, what about my home is the selling factor? Or ask, what other comps have you ran around the neighborhood, and what do you think the value for my home is?
And then should the client, so the seller also be coming up with the value on their own and then comparing that?
Yeah, I think that's a great tool to use.
And how can people do that?
You can go to.
I know how to do that.
Yeah, no. Funny enough, you can go to Zillow. And you can check off some of the boxes based off of search. You can hit sold. You can hit within a certain time period.
Should you do like sold in the past 6 months, sold in the past 12 months?
Safest bet is no more than 1 or 2 miles parameter, and keep it around 6 to 12 month mark.
6 to 12 months. Okay. So go to Zillow, put sold in the past 6 to 12 months within a 1 or 2 mile circumference. And then, gosh, I haven't used that word since elementary school.
Yeah, and kind of put the details too, like the year of your build, how many bed, baths, square feet, car, garage, and then plus or minus your condition based off of those other sold homes. So I guess the biggest ones is have you done any major renovations in the bathrooms, in the kitchens, living room areas, hardwood floors, paints.
Could you run that through ChatGPT and say, hey, here's the actual address of my home. Have you ever tried that?
I haven't tried that.
And then you could say, hey, I did a $10,000 renovation to the bathroom. What would that add to the sales? I wonder if you could do that.
I've done it once where, an appraisal just came back lower than what the home we're purchasing was. And I asked it, could you give me like an evaluation on why you can't get 100% of what you put back into the property back?
Yeah.
So for instance, if the house is, 500,000, the whole area is 500,000, but you did a 200,000 renovation in the backyard, you can't just dollar for dollar tell, the seller like, hey, I put 200,000 in the backyard. I'm demanding that 200,000 back.
Right. Because not every repair or every upgrade is equal value.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is, when you build your home, if you're building a custom home, to keep in mind where you're building it. Because if you're building a 4,000 square foot home in an area where there's a bunch of trailers around you or manufactured homes around you, that value is probably not going to stick, and you're going to be that one outlier
It's gonna be
in
hard
that
to
area.
sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It is interesting. We had an appraisal come back not long ago in which the value is just it was way off. And you could tell. It was just like, I don't even know how you could come up with this.
Right.
So you plug it in. I plug it into one of the AI systems safely.
Yeah.
And it did a full analysis for me. And it was like instant, right? And I'm like, oh man, this is so nice. I don't have to read through this whole thing. And come to find out, the appraiser just made a mistake in their software when they didn't click a box that they should have clicked, and the value spit out, $60,000 off.
Wow.
So it was interesting, but it's nice to have that review system that's instant through one of the AIs. But okay, so back to how clients can suss out whether or not an agent's good for them. I mean, how important is it for people to go look at an agent's reviews or to see, to just see what other people have said about them?
I think, this might be shooting myself in the foot, but also really not. Interview agents.
Interview multiple agents.
Interview agents,
Yeah.
for sure. Get their ideas, get their game plans of how they would strategize your sale. I even probably lost a client because of the car I drove one
Really?
time. Yeah. But that's okay. We just didn't mesh, and that it is what it is. But yeah, I think interviewing multiple agents, seeing their strategy, how they would sell your home, what are the wow factors, what are the selling factors, what things you could do to improve the condition of your home and bring it to top dollar. Because I've done that too. I've done homes where we could do, some small renovations, maybe like $10,000 or $15,000 upgrades, and it brought the value up almost, 50 to 60 grand.
Wow.
On the home. So it's like,
That's huge.
those small nuances that you can do in order to help your home sell, I would say kind of go a long way, depending on what those things are, of course, and the market you're in.
Interview agents. Yeah, I think that's a good one. But also too, if you feel like you're going to connect with a certain agent like yourself, right? And a client feels like they can connect with you easily ahead of time, then don't interview agents. The top agents, such as yourself, are the top agents for a reason. They do a good job. Honest, for the most part. I think most agents are very honest. There's always bad apples in every industry. But also too, I think social media is like being able to listen to something like this, or being able to go to your Instagram or what have you and just check somebody out ahead of time. I think that's so nice now. Yeah. Something that, you can get to know somebody a little bit before you even ever talk to them, which is cool. Okay. And then, is there anything, is there anything that you'd like to add on your end?
I was going to make that comment. I didn't want to interrupt you, but what I always tell people is like, I'm okay being your second agent to talk to, or if your first one didn't work out, like I'm okay being that second person to help you out, because I'll be your last.
There it is. And it's cool too, because if they've already worked with somebody, they already know what they don't want.
Right. And
then when they come to you, it's even better experience, which is nice. They have that contrast.
Yeah. And professionalism plays a key role too, because, my biggest strategies are making sure that your home gets marketed to the masses. And that's like Realtor.com, Redfins, Homes.com. But also, the smaller scale things like, and Facebook's not small, but I'm more saying locally. So posting the home like on Facebook or, TikTok or something of that.
It's like grassroots marketing. Local.
Yeah, absolutely. And then not only that too, is that if your agent's taking the photos off their iPhone or Samsung,
It's a red flag.
That's a huge red flag.
It's a red flag.
And
The
if you
photos
don't,
are the most important part.
yeah, that's the first thing that any potential buyer is going to see. And if they see your real estate agent taking a selfie with the camera, it's probably not a good strategy to be marketing your home
Right.
with that. Unless there was like some context behind it, like, oh, they were doing it on purpose for like a marketing, campaign or something. But yeah, if your agent's taking photos with, the iPhone camera or a Samsung or a Google Pixel, whatever it may be, like maybe you should reconsider that agent or reconsider that strategy at least, because that's not it.
They're going cheap. Packaging is so important nowadays. I mean, what people see as far as photos go, and especially the first photo online. I dove into YouTube and how to make, anyways, figured out how important packaging is, but it's like window shopping, right? If you're walking down or you're walking through the mall or you're walking anywhere shopping and the windows are dirty or there's something going on. It's just having a nice presentation is what allows people to walk in. It's the same with online. If it has a nice presentation, people are going to click or be more open to clicking. So
yeah, you can it gets even deeper than that, right? Not only do professional photography companies come out and take the photos, right? But they're going to give you a package of like 50 or 60 photos. And they're not really organized to how you should be posting it, or maybe in the method of somebody wanting to see the home. So instead of it being, the front of the house into the walkway, kitchen, living room, bedroom, bathrooms, garage, then backyard, it's more or less just scattered all over the place. So even just doing that small detail goes a long way. And I tell my clients the same exact thing is when I get that package, I'm sitting down, I'm picking the best photos, and I'm also organizing them to, like I said, the front,
make it make
pathways,
sense.
make it make sense. Like you're walking through the home, like almost like a 3D tour.
Totally. Yeah. It's like, wait, didn't I just see this room like 10 pictures ago? Is this the same room or is it an extra room or I'm pretty sure that's the same bed sheets, but I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Is there any other things you'd like to?
I think you had something in there where dual agency.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Pros and cons of dual agency.
Yeah. Dual agency is hard. It's a hard one. And
I've heard that. I've also heard some people that love it.
Yeah. So like, for instance, I've seen it. You always get those huge properties out here in Incline or Crystal Bay that have sold. Just recently, Crystal Point just sold for $40 million, but the representation was on both sides. You had what's the casino mogul just sold in Lakeshore.
Oh gosh,
it was like Mr. Wynn or something like that, right?
Okay, yeah.
So Mr. Wynn just sold his property too, and I think it was like 34 million, and the agent represented both sides. I think it's a good deal for the potential buyer, but it could also be good too as well for the seller, because maybe there's like a commission reduction in order to make that happen.
Yeah, instead of taking the full boat, you cut your commission.
Yeah, just to help out both sides. So I mean, it's a tough one to manage.
From the agent side, how tough is it to manage?
I think it's the way you share what they're giving you is probably the most important.
The information.
Yeah. And just I think the most important aspect to that is just stick to the facts of what they're giving you instead of giving assumptions or what you think the other side is doing, because giving information that's not real to somebody who is thinking completely different on the other side,
it could weaponize that information.
Yeah, it could be dangerous. So dual representation for me, I think is definitely something on a case-by-case basis. And I don't really like to do it as far as if I'm on the buy and sell side. I more or less do it if it's maybe family, as far as like they need help, offsetting a property and, another family member can come in and buy it.
Make it easy.
It just makes it
Probably
easier on the
really transparent.
Yeah, the communication aspect is probably like the biggest one.
Yeah. But when it's not family though, you can't always be. I mean, I wish me and Brian talked about this, envisioning a world where the real estate purchasing process was completely transparent, where the buyer and the seller and the agents all sit down at a table and just talk through, here's what I want. Okay, here's what I want. I mean, that's such a utopia that utopias don't exist. It's just not how life works. But um, that's something we talked about. I was like, I wonder if it could ever get to that point to where it's just like completely transparent. Here's everything that's wrong with the property. Okay, here's how, we can come to an agreement. So going back to your point, I'm sure it's tough listing on, or being the listing agent and the buyer agent, to balance between representing both, because the incentives are totally different from the buyer and the seller.
Right.
Seller wants top dollar, buyer wants low dollar. You have to bridge the gap.
Where's the happy medium?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like at the end of the day, someone is gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
It's just flat out. Someone will feel like they lost.
And they can always mentally put that back on you as the agent, because
100%.
even though you could have done everything right, it's, as you know, life's not always about truth. It's about perspective, right? Unfortunately. So the perspective could be twisted, even though everything went, according to plan on your end, and was completely truthful and honest. So.
Absolutely. And I have a real life scenario too. The first time we ever bought, the agent was the seller's agent, and we didn't know, but at the time we were just looking for a home, and he says, hey, I have one that I'm selling personally. So we took a tour, and we fell in love with the house.
Right.
It probably wasn't as disclosed as like maybe I would like it, or I guess I just didn't know about the process enough to like know how that was happening or how it was being portrayed. And one of the biggest things that we had was there was some windows that needed to get replaced or fixed. And what the agent decided to say was, hey, just based off of, everything we've done already as far as like the negotiation side, I don't think the windows are going to be one that they're going to take. So I'm not sure if that was the perspective that, they're giving me as far as like, hey, they just know that the client's not going to do it.
Did the client actually say that? Did
Yeah,
the
or
agent just say
just
that
not
and never
ask?
present it? Right.
Right. So I'm like, okay.
But here you are losing trust in the agent because you have no idea.
Right. So I'm like, okay. And, never thought anything of it until years later when I finally do get licensed. And I'm like, that could have been something,
we could have pushed back on.
We could have pushed back on a little bit, but at the end of the day, I am grateful for where I am today. And if I didn't get that house and his help and the seller's help at that time, I don't think I'd be anywhere close to I am today with career or real estate in general.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the match that struck the fire that is now Jason Martinez.
Right.
If people want to work with you, where can they find you? How can they connect?
You can find me if you Google Jason Martinez Real Estate in Google, or I think it's Jason Martinez Real Estate. Yeah, Jason Martinez Real Estate on Google. I'm also have an office here in Carson City. We have all offices really in Reno-Sparks, Dayton. Here's this. You can find me on Instagram here.
Jason, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Shay. Appreciate you having me.
You're a real one. I appreciate that. Ethics isn't always talked about, but it's important when it is. And so if you're looking for somebody who's highly ethical and is going to do the right thing and do a great job, Jason's your guy. So thanks again.